Guys, welcome to the first edition of the Husker Rundown. I am Connor O'Gara, joined by Nathan Hart. Nathan, we just witnessed a game that was a little too close for a lot of Husker fans' likings. Get out of here. Huskers get out of here with a 37-34 win against Wyoming in the opener here. But a lot of questions were raised about this defense, about this offense stringing some drives together. And Husker fans did not walk out of this building happy. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, for about 5 or 10 minutes in this game, the big scoreboard said 44-14, I think, Huskers, and I think just the auto setting was on. Everyone was ready for kind of a Husker blowout. Maybe Wyoming would stick around for a little bit, but that eventually Nebraska would take over. Just didn't happen. You never had that feeling the entire game from the opening kickoff that Nebraska had complete control. They got up by 17 in the second half. But it just was kind of an uneasy feeling the whole game that Wyoming was sticking around, and it came back to almost bite them, obviously, with the final score.
Yeah, I thought kind of Brett Smith's behavior was really representative of what went on tonight. Brett Smith, Wyoming quarterback, who threw for 4 touchdown passes and really got this offense going. Never say die quarterback, and he scrambled all night and just always found a way to never go down. Huskers did not record a sack tonight. I know they got a lot of new and young pieces on defense, but they couldn't get to him. He evaded the pass rush so many times tonight and found guys open downfield, and that was kind of really representative of what Wyoming did tonight. Wyoming just hung around. They hung around, and this isn't a team that the Huskers were expecting to be in contention with. We both kind of expected this to be a game where we were going to see some reserves. Everybody was talking about whether or not we're going to see Josh Banderas, the true freshman linebacker. But this was a game that the Huskers had to grind out. I mean, realistically, Wyoming could have won this on a last possession score. So a lot of question marks for this team right now, and it was not a very happy locker room, I'm sure.
Yeah, it just seemed like defensively in particular. I know that the team is young, but they were just in the first half kind of overplaying and just trying to do a little too much. There was a play talking about Brett Smith scrambling a corner blitz from Josh Mitchell. Just came in. Brett Smith saw it the entire time, sidestepped it through a 6-yard touchdown pass. It was just too easy for Wyoming. And the Wyoming's Brett Smith is a decent quarterback, but this is not a good football team.
I mean, this is every quarterback in the Big Ten is going to be at least at that Brett Smith level, and you know that's going to present a problem for a young unit like this when you're starting sophomores out here that don't have that big game experience. And you know, this maybe we should have expected this, because with the way that this game's set up, a young defense is not going to be able to get to a mobile quarterback in the way where you're going to be causing him all sorts of problems, and he's going to be intimidated by an atmosphere like this. So really, this team and this unit right now just has so many pressing issues. They're going to get 1 week. They're going to get one more week to be able to prepare and kind of have an off game, because off games are not allowed when UCLA comes into town, and off games are not allowed when Big Ten's schedule rolls around.
And the problem is, just with the pressure that it puts on the offense, UCLA in 2 weeks with Brett Hundley, I mean, it's going to be another good offense that's coming into town. And if UCLA puts up points, then Taylor Martinez is going to be under the gun to lead the Nebraska offense to score. I mean, they had to put 500, 600 total yards just to win by 3 against Wyoming, and that's a scenario that's not going to fly 2 weeks from now or in Big Ten season.
Now, it wasn't all bad. You know, Huskers did rush for 387 yards. You have 2 guys rushing for over 100 yards. We saw really good things out of this running game from Amir Abdullah. Amani Cross had a couple really impressive runs, had a double spin move on a play, which you don't really expect from a guy his size. And then the freshman, Terrell Newby, a guy that was expected to get playing time as a true freshman, and all in the second half, 15 carries, 76 yards, a guy that they're going to rely on a lot more as the season progresses. So the running game was solid. The play calling was conservative. Players said afterwards, you know what, we would have liked to see more shots downfield. Quincy Nunwood came out and said, I would have liked to gotten more targets over the middle. I think I had a couple mismatches there. Kenny Bell, same thing. Receivers did their job in that sense, and they were effective. Nunwood had 2 nice touchdown catches. Jamal Turner had the first touchdown catch of the game in the corner of the end zone. Taylor Martinez made some nice plays. He made some really nice throws. Didn't necessarily have to take a lot of those shots. And with the running game, when you're rushing for numbers like that, I mean, you don't have to be in that role. But there was positives, most of them offensively, most of them from the running game and this offensive line that gained a lot of momentum as the game went on.
The problem is you just come away with this game, if you're Nebraska, with kind of an uneasy feeling. I mean, there were other games this week where good teams were kind of challenged for a little bit, like Ohio State and Buffalo. Right. But Ohio State eventually pulled away. Same with Texas. They were struggling for a little bit, but eventually they just took over. And so you kind of say, okay, we struggled, but then it all started clicking. And it just didn't happen. So you walk away with this game just with if you're a Nebraska player or fan, it's just a really uneasy feeling, like just where is this team headed after just high expectations to begin the season.
One final note, do want to mention that Taylor Martinez walked out of here with an ice pack, a big ice pack over his left shoulder. He had to leave. Well, not necessarily leave, but he was on the sideline, was getting some sort of treatment or looked. I couldn't really tell. They had Kellogg was warming up, but did not miss any time. Could just be a precautionary thing. Caught a stinger in the shoulder, whatever it is. Husker fans have no real reason to freak out over this, but he was not in the best of spirits leaving this place. Not happy with his offense's performance down the stretch. But
didn't address the media either.
Did not address the media. So, for a fifth-year senior, a little bit of a surprise, but he'll have a chance to turn that around. And really, if the Huskers can turn that around offensively, defensively next week against Southern Miss, they get a lot more confidence going into that UCLA game. So they'll have one more week before the real test. So it'll be interesting to see. So for the first edition of the Husker Rundown, I am Connor O'Gara, Nathan Hart. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.